Hi everyone, Ash here with a quick message ahead of this week's episode of the Nat Pun podcast. Unfortunately, due to scheduling conflicts, we're not going to be able to release any episodes in the month of April 2026, and we'll be back as normal in May. In the meantime, make sure you head over to our Discord server and join us there where you can talk more about the Nat Pun podcast, D&D and a host of other games as well, and engage with the rest of our fantastic community. Right, enough from me. Let's get on with the episode.
Charity Gaming Guild proudly brings to you
Charity Gaming Guild presents
The Charity Gaming Guild presents
the
Nat
Pun
Pun
podcast.
Hello everybody and welcome to this month's community episode. I am your host, Bertie, and my co-hosts are also here. It's good because if they weren't, this would be shocking. So welcome please, the delectable Andy.
Can I ask, did you have any particular types of mushrooms for your breakfast?
They were funny colours.
Hi everyone!
Oh, and you have the same ones.
The delicious Ash.
Ooh. I thought it was going to be you as well. It's me. Hi. Sorry. Let's try to carry over being called delicious there. First time for everything, I suppose.
And the delicatessen,
John the bakery.
Well, he did supply some
He did some check.
some
They're baked good.
goods, so it works. Now, if I can pull Andy away from his obsession with rolling dice every 5 seconds,
I think he's rolled an unnatural 20s from the looks of it.
No. First one I did a 1, 2, 3 and a 20 with 4 220s. And just now I did 3 18s.
it just shows you how interested he is in spending time with us. That he spends the majority of it rolling dice.
I
An
have.
age thing.
Yeah.
And they say
I have a
young-
very low attention span.
Say that about the young, but no.
Squirrel!
Oh God, it's a lupine guard.
Raw. Oh, don't touch it. It's got 300 hit
It's
points.
feral.
Christ now, hey, be careful.
It's a feral squirrel.
Our community episode this month is about 3D printing. We understand that a few of our community members enjoy this pastime. Some of them want to enjoy it, but absolutely don't. So I'm interested, how many of you partake in 3D printing?
Yes.
Yep.
You, Bertie?
Well, it occurs in my abode, but I am not in charge of the 3D printing itself. So I benefit from it, but I don't have to deal with it. Ha ha ha.
That is definitely the better end of the deal.
Yeah. What, in your opinion, I know this is straight out the gate and I'm contentious, what's better, filament or resin?
Depends what you're using it for.
Yeah, I'd agree.
So if you're doing something big like terrain or a DM screen, filament. If you want something like detailed like a miniature, resin.
I would disagree with that. Resin is better, right? But there's a cost and a practicality to it. If you could afford a full, like, top-end, massive resin printer with unlimited resin, would you ever use a filament printer?
No, but I can't.
No, exactly. It's not. Filament is better. Filament is cheaper.
Yeah, that's fair. I suppose filament is more practical for most people.
Yes.
More
yes,
accessible.
More accessible.
Yeah,
definitely.
I think you're probably right
And
there.
although I haven't checked out new printers recently, when I was buying them, you had bigger print beds on filament than you do resin. So you got more. You either got to print more parts for a bigger model, or go to filament.
Yeah. Filament's not great for detail, is it?
Oh no.
You can get pretty good though.
Yeah, it's certainly getting a lot better
It's
than it
getting a lot
was.
better. And I
Yeah.
think print time as well is getting a lot better on new. Like the print
Yeah.
time is stated on new printers. Like mine's, I don't know, it's years old now, 5, 6 years old. It's 60 millimeters a second or whatever, and new printers are like 400 millimeters a second, sort of thing. It's like a massive difference, isn't it? So,
Amy,
you're talking about
whatever. They're faster, a lot faster.
over a foot in a second.
Over a foot in a second.
Wham!
Yeah, it's not going to print nothing, but they can move that fast.
The other nice thing with filaments, Amy, who many of our listeners will know from Toucan Crafts, who comes to our events sometimes, she's got two, I don't know what they're called. Can't remember the brand. Might be, I think they're called Cobra 3s, maybe. Anyway, that's not the point. They're multicolour, so she could put up to 8 different colours into one print.
Wow.
Potentially, but if she puts 4 different colours. So you can't do that with a resin printer.
No.
So the filament then can produce different coloured things, which makes life a lot easier. And because of the new feed and things, you haven't got to swap the filament out either. It's like a box, and it feeds the different colours in when it detects the different colours.
That's cool.
Yeah, so that's quite nice as well. I think you're right, John. I in hindsight, I do agree with you that it is accessibility and ease of use with a filament. The learning curve on a filament printer is much shallower than on a resin, and it's not as the resin it reacts better to temperature. No, not better. It might be more reactive to temperature and moisture and stuff like that as well.
Yeah, I think for me it's so the learning curve. Right, when I had a filament printer first, then went to a resin.
Yeah.
I didn't find the resin particularly hard to learn how to use, but when it goes wrong, it gets really messy and things get properly broken. Like if it goes wrong, it's stuck on the screen, or you've ruined the tray and you have to start replacing parts.
Yeah.
Whereas filament printer, you just scrape it off, swear, throw it in the bin, and start again. So, less to go wrong, I think, on a filament, even though they've weirdly seem more mechanical.
Yes. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
So in agreement that filament is more cost effective than resin?
Yeah.
Definitely more accessible and costly. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about the rigidity of the model produced? Do you think that filament is slightly stronger than resin?
So I use ABS like resin now when I print, which leaves a slightly flexible finish. So I've dropped like 28mm models from standing height and they just bounce. They don't break anymore. The original resin I was using, we used to just snap. So I've changed resin to an ABS like one, which means that everything's a lot more durable. But then on the filament printer, I only print big stuff, and it's usually terrain type pieces. It's like ruins for wargaming and stuff like that, which they're fairly chunky. And actually, they're fairly hollow as well, so they're quite light and they bounce.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's a good point. There's different types of resin as well, isn't there? There's even different types of filament that you can use, and the different filament types as well. So there's so much variety out there that actually getting into it can almost be overwhelming if you don't do enough research and not knowing what types of resin to pick. And I bought some water wash resin the other day. I haven't tried it yet, but
yeah. I think
They also do the more natural based resins, which are supposed to be like better for the environment, better for you, and less likely to give like toxic chemicals off, which is something I don't think anyone ever thought they'd have to consider.
No.
And it's like, I'm using toxic chemicals in my home to make things out of nothing. Like 15 years ago, that was just not a consideration. But
even with these new resins, I'm assuming that the end print still has to be cured, which you don't have. Which you
don't do that
think
with filament.
filament.
Yeah.
going back to my earlier comment, I'm just looking at the Anycubic S1. Bear in mind it's an £800 filament printer. Recommended print speed is 300mm a second. Maximum is 600mm a second. It's a fully enclosed printer, so I've got better temperature control and all the rest of it.
Does that not just mean it can print a 300mm line in a second?
Yes.
Not that it consumes 300mm.
Yes, it can print a 300mm line in a second. But bearing in mind, like the older printers are printing at like 60mm a second, like speed increases for them. I say that would have taken like 3 days to take a day.
Yeah.
So massive. So if anyone wants to send me £800 for a new printer, I'm quite happy.
Nice. What you should do, don't fall into this trap. They should send you the printer.
Oh yeah,
because they send you the
printer.
money,
Yeah.
you'll guilt yourself into going, oh, I've got this bill I need to clear, and you won't get what you actually want. But if they buy the item for you, you've got the item without the guilt.
I think they should just give the charity £800.
Yeah, that'd probably be better.
Yeah. I mean, that is what we're here for.
I know, don't look at me like that, Andy. I know that you never even consider. Some of us live in the real world, and some of us.
Andy doesn't pay bills. He lives in the countryside. He's got a hamster and a wheel to generate his electricity.
Yeah, that's true.
Probably got solar panels.
Yeah.
Not loud.
Oh well.
Doesn't matter. He's got like a nuclear plant in his basement. Who needs solar panels?
Methane.
Yeah.
Power.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, self-powered. So I think that also kind of covers the next, you touched on it a bit, of which of the systems is easier to kind of set up, print and clean. Consensus seems to be definitely with filament.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah.
So I'd say initial setup. So I was still selling resin printer. So the resin printer I got was literally lift it out of the box, put the bed on, run auto leveling, and you pour some resin in, you can print your first print. Obviously the aftercare is a bit more hard. My filament one is an end of 5, and it came in bits. Literally had to get the Allen keys out and build the thing.
Yeah,
it
you
took
have to
a
build
while.
Yeah.
It mostly, like, all the bits that had belts on were all kind of pre-made. It was, like a car and bolted together.
Yeah.
But in terms of actual like physical setup, the resin was actually faster to get going on that first print.
I did find the auto leveling trickier on the resin than I did on the filament.
Yeah.
But the filament, literally press a button, it does it. And then on the resin one, because I've got LG Mars, so I had to move the feet to level it and then check the plate against the screen and make sure that was flush and level. It didn't just level on its own. You could zero it, but it didn't automatically do it. So that was easier to put together, harder to calibrate.
So my end of 5, which is my filament one, leveling it, you have to kind of set the bed leveling, then it will come down. Then you have to turn the motors off and move it to one corner, and slide a bit of paper underneath it, and then wind things in one corner, then move it to the next corner, kind of move it all round.
Do it on our filaments.
Whereas
on the resin, we did.
So on the resin, you put a sheet of paper on, you press level, undo the bolts on the plate, it comes down and goes. You just hold it down and tighten it up again. So resin one for me is easier to level.
I guess that's an interesting point, because that brings up different brands working in different ways.
Yeah.
So actually the brand of printer you buy is probably as impactful as whether it's resin or filament from the sounds of things.
Yeah, it may also be around the newer technology. I mean, you said was it filament first?
Yeah. No,
So how old's your resin?
the resin is probably 3 years.
Whereas, I mean, I know I've had my resin for at least 5.
Yeah, I've had mine longer than that, I reckon.
So it may be that ours were more difficult because the technology is slightly better. Yeah.
Because it's improving all the time, isn't it? Printer technology is just coming on massively. Yeah. I remember when I worked for Games Workshop, we used resin printers to test miniatures. And the one I always sticks in my head is they're not called wood elves anymore, they're called Silverneth now, but the tree men, the new tree men, it's one of those being 3D printed in resin, and the miniature designer had to print it about 4 or 5 times to get it to complete. But they used it to make sure the miniature looks good and is proportioned properly and comes out nicely. And that was, I've not worked for Games Workshop for about 15 years.
Yeah.
So
Some would ask, did you ever work for them?
you never really work there. Equally, you never really get paid either. So
Moving on. So that brings us on to quite nicely onto the next question: is which systems or machines do you use, and what were the considerations for you when choosing that model?
So my resin is like I said, a Mars Elegoo, and I picked it because it was the most affordable one at the time. That was it.
That's fair.
There's no other consideration.
Yeah.
Whereas Amy's got, they're Cobra 3s, but I can't remember what make they are. I'm not really sure. But she does so much research. It's unbelievable with anything. She's very research heavy, make sure she knows what she's doing. So she based that on the quality of the print and the ease of use and the speed and all that kind of stuff, more technical stuff. And then if I need something printed on a filament, she will do it for me if I ask nicely enough.
There's no bribery involved.
Not normally.
That's nice. And you, gentleman? Andy, looking at you.
Well, I went down, initially my first printer was the Elegoo Mars again, and the only reason I did that is because Ash had one.
Fair enough.
Didn't do any research, just he had one, he said, oh look what I printed, I said, oh, that looks good, I went and bought one.
It's very handy.
Yeah.
It's very odd message.
To be honest, I can't remember the name, the brand of I know it was. I saw a review. I did do a bit of research on this one, and I was looking at was it the Creality, and this one was getting really good write-ups. It was supposed to be cheaper than the Creality, but actually rated slightly better. But I cannot remember the name of the printer, even though it's only behind that door. But yeah.
My filament one is a Creality Ender 5, because at the time I think everyone was recommending either the Ender 3s or the one that you've got, Ash, as kind of a starter printer. And I had the budget for a 5, so I was like, so we'll go up, get a bigger print bed, bigger volume. And it still was sort of recommended as fairly easy to set up and use for a first printer. And I've got an N-Cubic Photon 3, I think it is. As my resin printer. Similar sort of thing, budget being the main constraint.
Yeah.
If I had more money, I would absolutely have gone bigger. But yeah.
Right, I want to be really disruptive now. It's bugging me. I'm going to go.
It's got to go.
So I believe that we got the same, the Any-Cubic Photon. I think that was the first one we got. And it was a similar kind of trying to find something that sounded like it was goodish, but had good reviews, but wasn't too break the banky. But I think the only thing is it is quite a small build plate on that one. So you were restricted to how big a product you could kind of get made on it.
Yeah.
And then when we went for the filament printer, so my papa is very lucky, because for one Christmas he got a filament printer, and for another Christmas, birthday, and then for another Christmas and birthday he got a new resin printer. So the filament printer that he got is, let me try and figure out what it was. I can't remember what the brand it was. But it's a big beast. It's got quite a significant build plate on it. I don't believe it's a Creality, but it was similarly to like what you said. It came in multiple parts. Yeah. So the putting that together was, I'll say fun, I'll be lying. And then trying to get that leveled and stuff. But it's quite nice because once it's set up, it's good to go.
Yeah.
The only issues that we've had realistically were where the filament decided to just not come out of the nozzle head and completely gooped itself all over the top bit, so that had to be replaced. But aside from that, it's been pretty decent. And then for the resin printer, it was the Saturn's Elegoo Saturn 16K one, which I got because it had really high reviews and it said it's super easy to use. You literally just set it up and you go. And the moaning, the backshakes that I could hear coming from the coming from the other room because it was going wrong, and I was like, it was no doubt user error. No doubt. It wasn't going to be issues with the product itself. It was definitely down to our knowledge. But that one's quite nice because it has got a significantly bigger vat on it. But the problem that we found is that, I don't know why, but when the plate comes up, I don't know if it's because of the consistency of the resin that we were using, because it was quite a thick resin, but it would pour off the plate and it would just cover the machine. It wasn't dripping into the tray, it was just kind of going all over parts of the machine.
Okay. So, it should drip down back into the tray again.
Yeah, it should, but it was like, I think it was just how viscous it was.
Where do you have your printer set up?
So it is set up in the office. We're in Dad's office, so it's inside, and it's got like a preheat option with the tray, so it will pre-warm the filament. And I think that we hadn't been doing that, so I think by pre-warming it, it makes it more liquid. And I think
the resin's got a set temperature. Like the warmer it gets, the more runny it gets.
Yeah, and I think it was thicker, which was causing it to kind of
slop rather.
Slopping. It was slopping about.
Slop.
Which isn't great.
I think I've had less problems with the resin printer It's in the house, and the smell, we get moaned at about the smell, but that's mostly because it's the IPA for curing stuff rather than the resin. The resin itself doesn't smell particularly bad, but the IPA stinks. But with the filament printer, it's getting stuff to stick to the print bed because it's in the garage.
Yeah.
Like, especially on long prints, like if it's going overnight, like 4 o'clock in the morning, it must get cold enough that it just goes, I'm going to come unstuck now, and just pops off.
Yeah.
And I've had a couple of problems with print beds. So the magnetic one that came with it, I've got rid of, and I've got a glass print bed now. I use Pritt stick on the bed before printing and things like that to get the thing to stick and stay stuck for a length of time. Otherwise, it just falls off halfway through and ends up with a mess.
What was it, Andy?
It's a Voxlab Aquila X2.
Ooh, sounds fancy.
They're all very much the same kind of setup, aren't they, with filaments, and resin ones, really.
I think the big difference nowadays, if you look at the ones that I think, like Andy was looking at the picture on the front, it looks a lot like the one I've got. It's an open frame printer. I think it looks like the bed's static on yours, Andy, or just moves backwards and forwards and the nozzle does the move. Yeah. My one, the bed's static and the nozzle moves. I think your one you described, the bed moves.
Both
double move. But the new ones are all enclosed, I think, is the biggest difference, isn't it, in terms of getting better quality and better speed and stuff out of them, having that enclosure and that, like you say, the preheat temperatures and stuff like that is it's a lot better. Because new ones come with all sorts of funky gadgets, like you can watch it print from your phone and stuff.
Yeah, we've got cameras in ours in the kitchen.
Yeah, we got that. We haven't figured out how to set that function up yet. But what was quite fun is with the filament one, because it was so big, we were trying to figure out where to put it, and there was only like one surface in the home that was big enough and relatively stable enough, and it was by the side of the fire. But it was on like a wooden door that you could open up to get to where the wood logs would be stored. So we had to jam like birthday and Christmas cards between the bricks and the wood to make sure that it wouldn't move. And then we put it there and it's like, okay, that's great. And then we used it and it's near my room and it was so noisy. So we ended up getting a tent. So they make them, so it's an enclosure for it specifically. So it kind of, it goes in its own little tent that you can zip up, has little lights in there so you can keep an eye on it. But now it has been relegated to the garage because it's like, I can't have that going.
It's just too noisy.
It's just too noisy. It's not too bad now I've moved my office because it was also right next to where I was working. So the noise constantly throughout the day. By the end of the day, I was like, I'm going to rip my own eyes out. But it's too bad now. But yes, definitely the smell, I think, with the resin is something that you need to be aware of. It's going to happen. Yeah. Because there are times when I open the door and it just kind of like hits you right in the face. So it's something, but it's difficult, I think, having the space and having the right area to do it, because you almost need like a designated room just for that. So if you're thinking about getting some of this stuff, guys, have that as a consideration. It's not just what you're looking for, it's where you're going to put it as well, because it has to be on a solid level base that's not going to be and going about all over the place. So yeah. Got to have good ventilation as well. That's very important, especially for the resin ones.
Gloves.
Yeah.
For your liquid resin. Skin camera,
well,
eye protection. Yeah. Should go the whole hog.
If you are a responsible adult, you will use gloves and you will use eye protection. Not pointing fingers at anybody that I know. Papa. So yeah, but it's definitely the safety considerations. Oh, and Andy apparently that we need to take into it. And something that you were talking about is kind of brings me on to my next point. Are there any hints or tips or tricks that you've kind of learnt over the time where you have been printing that might not be so much easily known, but you've just found, oh, that makes it so much easier, or watch out for this kind of thing?
Yeah, just because the settings work for somebody else does not mean they're going to work for you.
Okay.
So someone can recommend specific settings in your slicer software or for your printer itself. Doesn't mean it's going to guarantee it's going to work for you, because you're going to print in a different environment. It could be different temperature, different humidity, everything. So be prepared to experiment and don't just give up if it goes wrong once. Yeah. Try and work out what you can do to mitigate against that and change your settings. Eventually you'll find what works and you'll be able to replicate that over and over again.
Yeah, I think
be patient with it.
Patience is probably what I would. You think you get it and then something will go wrong.
Yeah.
And I have, for the resin print, I print on the same settings basically for everything now. I know what the settings are. They work. Normally never have any problems. Don't know what was wrong, but I was picking one particular file, trying to print it, and it was just printing a solid block of resin.
Oh, wow.
And it's something in the file and the way the slicer done it. And I must have re-sliced that file 4 or 5 times to try and get it to kind of work every
So
time.
what's your slicer of choice?
I can never remember the names of them. Cura for filaments, I think. And I remember the other one.
That's okay, because I'll ask you about that in a minute.
Think on that one.
I'll think of it.
Any other?
For filament, I've PVA like glue stick.
Yeah.
Print that I find really useful to help it stick.
I've seen some people recommending to sand the plate on the filament as well to give it a better grip.
I've sanded a filament paint. I have on the resin.
Done the resin as well.
Okay.
Yeah, not on the filament though. The filament, the plate we've got is textured anyway
Okay.
to help it adhere. Sometimes we've had to use PVA glue. Not PVA. Grit stick.
Grit stick,
Don't use PVA glue.
No.
Very different
Yeah.
glue.
Yeah.
Very different. But on the resin, yeah. Well, I haven't sanded it. I've kind of scratched it
Yeah.
just to make it a bit rougher, so the resin kind of sucks onto it better. Because it prints upside down, you can hear it kind of pulling off the bed sometimes.
So I've had the opposite problem with stuff sticking in the resin printer. So sticking to the bottom of the bed, and the answer to that was to sand the build plate.
Yeah, not better adhesion on the top than the bottom.
Yeah, and you can also just put a tiny bit of oil in the bottom of the vat.
Oh, I've not had that before.
So it's not just any old oil though. It has to be like a dry lubricant that you sort of spray in. PTFE lubricant is called. It's just a tiny bit. It makes like your resin go a little bit funny colour.
You can paint it anyway, right?
But it gets mixed in as soon as it starts printing. It's the tiniest amount, and that helps it not stick to the bottom.
Lubrication.
I know Andy will always recommend lubrication, regardless of what we're talking about. But are there any tips or tricks that you found over your time printing, Andy?
I don't think I have actually. I mean, I just found slicer software that worked for me, and I mean, yeah, I probably could do with some tips and tricks because I still suffer with a higher than I would like failure rate with the printing. More so with the filament.
I have more fails on the filament than the resin.
Yeah. Which I was surprised at. I thought the filament would be more reliable. No, sorry. No words of wisdom from me.
It's fine, par for the course. What software do you use, as you mentioned it? Do you use the branded one that kind of is supplied with the machine, or is there a separate one that you use that's better that you found?
I use Cura for the filament and Chitubox for the resin.
I used to use Chitubox, and then I moved to Lychee.
I tried Lychee, I couldn't get on with it. No.
I had more success with Lychee, I think, because you can preload I found it easier to pre-program the settings in for the resin type, and it's easier to change it out depending on what I was using.
Okay.
And that's exactly what I mean by what I said before. Like, Lychee worked for me, I struggled with Chitubox. It's the other way around for John. So you've just got to find what works for you.
They all basically do the same thing, isn't it? In terms of what they output. It's just where stuff is and how easy it is to change it and stuff. I think my tip for printer settings is save your profiles. So if you've tried something, save it and name it like what it is, then name the next one what you've changed. So when you find one that works, you know like what you've changed between the two. So I've got multiple profiles, with like one for more detailed stuff, one for great big terrain with different layer heights and print speeds to try and get print bigger stuff faster and smaller stuff a bit more detail. And naming them correctly really helps.
Yeah, I can imagine it does. What do you use, Andy? What's your slicer of choice?
Yeah, I'm a Chitubox man myself. I've got to admit, I think I did try. Funny, it might have been Lychee that I tried. I just couldn't get on with it.
No.
Unless you have a fruit salad and then Lychee's.
Oh,
quite
lovely,
nice, yeah.
Love a bit of Lychee. Have any of you looked into those 3D scanners that turn things you scan into a 3D model? Or used them at all?
Looked at, but not used.
Yeah, I'm the same. I wanted to, for no reason in particular.
Oh my
But
god.
That's the first thing.
but yeah, I mean, again, we're going back a number of years now, and the ones I was looking at were quite pricey, and I don't think they were brilliant.
I don't know if they'd do that smaller detail.
I honestly think in a few years' time there'll be an app on your phone that will do the same thing.
Yeah.
I really.
I'm always dubious about like how accurate they are, because if you're scanning something, you've got to get it from every single angle. I don't know how reliable that would be.
I just think of it in terms of, like the video games or those things where they make like an action figure of someone, and the ones that are really, really close. With those, they have them set up in a room where it's just thousands of cameras all around them, and they're there for ages just sitting, and it's taking the photos with the light in different positions. I don't if that's what they have to do for that kind of quality, I don't think that a handheld me shaking Stevens over here going trying to scan something is going to give anywhere near the kind of quality, especially like some of them are like $8,000 for these things, and I'm like, no.
If the small ones are that good, they'd be using it for the big stuff like you just said.
Yeah, it makes sense. Have you seen those things they have a lot sometimes when you go to like a party? It's a platform you can stand on, and then there's an arm that swings around with like a camera, so it kind of does this cool little effect. That would make sense if it's like, okay, I can physically put it on this pedestal in the middle, and then it will do the full 360 around. But if it's a handheld thing, I just don't think it's...
Tech develops though, doesn't it? So you're talking like an $8,000 scanner. That's for them to do like the scanning of Helm's Deep to put on a big movie screen or whatever.
Yeah.
Like that sort of scanning. The reality is most of the stuff that we're doing, D&D, we're going to print in like at 20 mil high.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't have to be uber quality.
And I'm looking at one here.
Tech gets cheaper the longer it's about as well.
Yeah. I'm looking at one here. It's handheld. It's £539.
That's pocket change, Andy. You should get one and give it a go.
Yeah.
We can talk about it next time.
Order.
I just like the idea of being like, you could scan someone's face and make a mask out of it, and then stuff like, and then just using that like
I've seen someone...
I'm realising the mistake of my identity theft idea.
I have seen someone on a YouTube video do it and make a Warhammer model-sized head of somebody.
Yeah.
And then put that on the model.
Yeah.
So that person becomes the Warhammer model.
Yeah, that's more along the lines of
what John's saying is right, because we're only going to be printing stuff that's this big.
Yeah.
It's not like we're going to be doing fucking great set pieces or mass production action figures and stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the biggest thing I would probably print would be something like one of these dragons or a big tank on a sci-fi game.
And the reality is the little bit of loss of detail you get from a cheaper scan or whatever you can make up for by painting it in a particular way or airbrushing it or something like that. To be honest, people do amazing things to hide crappy 3D designs.
Well, what point do you draw the line? So like you're saying about scanning a dragon, at what point is it so much ball ache that you might as well just buy a second dragon?
Only a second.
Or third or fourth or fifth or sixth.
Yeah.
Or 14th or 15th. Because by the time you scan it, you cocked it up, you've got to scan it again. I'll scan it again. Okay, I think I've got it. Now I'm going to upload it.
Then you're going to have to fix the errors
You're
in
going to
the
fix the errors, you're going to have to mesh mix it, you're going to have to support it, you're going to have to slice it. Then you've got to import it over to your printer. You've got to print it, you're going to use filament, you're going to use resin, you've got to load it, you've got to cure it, you've got to take it back off again, you've got to clean it. At what point do you think, I might as well just spend the £100 on a fucking dragon, open the box and paint it? And that's
or you jump onto My Mini Factory and pay 20 quid for a dragon model.
For one that's ready to go.
Ready to go and print it.
Yeah,
exactly. There's so many great artists, I think, in the community that do some really weird and wacky stuff as well as some more traditional stuff, which is supporting.
I don't think the scanner realistically would save me enough money or save me time. So I don't think it's something I'd ever buy, to be perfect.
The thing is, you have to have something to scan to start with.
Yeah.
So...
See, that's where I think it works for me, because I would be scanning everything. Should be out on a walk and be like, Quindy, scan. Or dog, stay still, scan.
I think, to be honest, the scanning stuff is going to be more that. It's going to be people want to scan their pets.
Yeah.
Or something like that and have like a, I don't know, like Andy's cabin here's wood. You might want to scan the dogs and have the dogs head up on the wall like an old hunting lodge or something like that.
Ash, I don't think he's telling the truth. I think he sees an opportunity to save money, because what he would do, he thinks, I really like that game, I really like that particular faction, Andy's got that, Andy, can I borrow your models? Scan, print, done.
Even that feels like more work. I'm not being funny. Like, I mean, Games Workshop are on a constant battle trying to stop people replicating their IP and their models, aren't they? Like, constantly suing people for it. So there's plenty of stuff about that's legal-ish. It's people's own designs, but clearly copying other people's stuff. But yeah, it's a bit of a grey area, I think.
I think like you for personal use, you're never going to get caught out by
That's
it.
it.
But then again, it's talking about great Games Workshop stuff and miniatures. You've got blue stuff, which you can heat up and just make a mould of something, pull it apart, shove it full of modern putty, close it, let it cure, and just replicate the part that way.
Yeah.
It's a lot quicker and easier than scanning it, printing it, and a lot cheaper.
Yeah.
A lot cheaper. Pack of green stuff's like pack of blue stuff's like £8, and you can use it over and over and over again.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So there are cheaper options out there, guys. That's what I'm trying to say. You mentioned it a little bit. We're going to segue into the next section. What is your preference for painting? Do you airbrush? Do you hand paint? Do you paint all your minis? Or do you leave them naked?
You never leave a miniature naked for too long.
Okay.
I don't say that because I imagine you're exactly the same as the rest of us. Got piles of grey shade.
Actually, I'm not an amazing painter, but I am a quick painter. I can paint.
Because you use a roller. Done.
Like I'd say, my hedge mini that for the Warcraft game played the other day, Andy. There's a unit of Bucklerman, which is 5 models. Four models. I painted that in 2 evenings from start to finish. So I can paint quickly, but I will use a combination of brush and airbrush, depending on what effects I want to get. Use both.
Okay.
A long-winded way of saying that, wasn't it?
Well, we've got
no surprises there.
Yeah. I know when I ask you a question, Ash, I'm going to get a little bit of a detour before we get there, but we're going to get there.
So
thanks, Ray.
My painting technique has changed massively, I think, over the last few years. So I used to paint everything and use washes. A bit of Agrax Earth shade over everything solves a lot of problems. And I've switched to speed paints now, which is, I find, so much faster. Like, they dry really, really quickly. So there's none of this, I need to wait for that whole layer to dry before doing the next thing. They dry in like 2 minutes. So you said about painting 5 models, have them done in a few hours, generally, because the speed paints do such a good job of doing the detail. I'm colourblind anyway, so speed paints come with the name printed on the bottle in a sort of a semi-sensible name. Like, it might be called Demonic Yellow, but it says it's yellow, which helps me. I find the Citadel paints really hard to use because they don't have the actual colour listed on the bottle. Such a stupid thing, isn't it? But yeah, I find
But sometimes even when they do like cerulean, what the fuck is cerulean? As a colour, it's the name of a colour. When you picture cerulean, pink, blue, what are you picturing? I don't freaking know. So if you're in that situation, they need to be more considerate of people who might have colour bites. This is a shout out to you companies that make that stuff.
Yeah, Vallejo.
Because we know you're listening.
Italian names.
That's a big factor into why I use RE painter stuff, because they actually put the name of the colour on the bottle.
Yes.
I use a fair whack of one with paint stuff as well when I paint. Collect they had colour triads as well, Army Painter, which are really, really good. So you buy a set of 3, which is a base of highlight and a shade colour. So you can use the 3 together to get a good colour for whatever you want. It's quite a clever technique. You've got pens as well, haven't you?
Yeah. Again, they're speed paints, so it's made by Army Painter. So I do tend to use the speed paints, again, more so than the contrast from Citadel. But I've always kind of accepted, unfortunately, the group of people I play these games with, when I first started, I looked at their painting and they are head and shoulders above me. No matter how hard I try, I never was able to paint anything quite as good as them. So I accept that I paint to an average tabletop standard. That's fine. that's good enough to get it on the table, and it looks okay.
As long as you base it.
Yeah, so I'm never going to win a competition with it, but it will look good on the table. And speed paints, I think, really help. But those pens, absolute genius. They can make things. I mean, don't get me wrong, there are limitations because the tip of the pen is so big that you can't really do any of the really fine detail. But the combination of the fact that you can do the bigger surfaces very quickly, and you're not having to keep dipping your paintbrush and washing it out when you're changing colour, you just sort of pick that pen up.
You're going to get like a consistent colour that every time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so those pens have been really good as well. They've helped speed things up. I mean, I was sitting here with, funny enough, Rue and Ed last night, and we were just talking, and in about 10 minutes, I painted all the bases of that 20-odd army base that I was using. It's just, yeah.
Paint pens, I think, are a really good idea. You can get some really, I find for like, I've got Imperial Guard army and like numbers on the shoulder pads, get a really fine paint pen from Amazon. They're not particularly expensive. So much easier than using a brush.
Yeah.
What about you, Bertie? What do you do when you paint?
I close my eyes and hope for the best.
Nice.
I enjoy painting, but as I've mentioned, I do have a Shakin' the Stevens issue. So for me, and it's even worse when I'm concentrating. So if I'm just kind of doing a wash, it's nice and easy, just slap it on, looks a bit nice. But when it comes to the detailed bits, I do have to clamp things in places to make sure that I'm not going for their eye and I hit their elbow sort of situation. But I also enjoy, I really like painting, but it's not colour blindness so much, but I suffer from colour paralysis in that I can't decide what colour to use, because in my head I'm trying to like visualise what the end will look like, and I'm like, oh, I want them to be really colourful, and I never learned the whole colour theory of what colours are complementary on the colour wheel and stuff, so I just go this, and this, slap it on, see what it looks like, and then hope no one looks too closely at what I'm doing.
I think people overdo it with the colours a lot of the time. So I reckon for especially with army projects, I pick like 3 colours.
Yeah.
So like my Imperial Guard are light grey cloth, like blue grey armour. Like that's it.
Yep.
They've all got black hair. If there's heady hair showing, done. Like no messing about. So,
yeah.
Got Beastman army. That's all just brown, like fur brown, pretty much. So
Yeah, I have to vary the hair. I have redheads and blondes and black and some old farts with grey hair. And
what I do is I pick a palette, but use the palette in different ways across models, so you still get a unified look. Obviously something like an entire army is a bit different, but if you have a small force or a couple of different units, I use the same paints on those models but in slightly different ways.
One will have the one colour trousers, the other one's got a little red.
Stuff like that, yeah. And then you get the same feel and they still look unified while also looking different. Works for me. Means my painting desk is an absolute mess.
It does make it easy though. If you want to add to something, you know that the colour palette is that blue, that grey, that green, or whatever, don't you? So
I think the issue I have with painting, and it's something I do time and time again, and I really, really, really do need to sort of make a mental note to do something different. Often, painting a nice army all looks nice and uniform. 6 months later, new range comes out for that army. You buy the models. Shit, what colour did I use for that?
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't always think, oh well, okay, I know there's going to be more models coming out for this army, so I'll write down, I use this colour for the armour and this colour for the trousers, and I don't do that. So I end up having a...
So I started doing that, and I just drop it in the bottom of the army box under the foam, or whatever, so I've got most of mine in there, sort of foam carry boxes, just for storage, so I just tuck a piece of paper in the bottom with the colour palette on, so you don't lose it. I think my Imperial Guard tanks, if I take the lid off one of the Lehman Russes inside a piece of paper with how to paint the tanks, so it's consistent.
There's different standards of painting as well, isn't there? So I don't know if you guys are the same, but if I'm painting a Warhammer army, I'll blitz it. I'll paint it really quick because there's loads of models to paint. If I'm painting a game that uses smaller out models like Warcry, I'll spend a bit more time on it. If I'm painting a D&D model, I will spend hours on it
Yeah.
because it's one model. I'm going to use that one model for months and months and months, week in and week out. I'll get the magnification glasses out with the lights on it and all the finest, best brushes I've got from Artist Opus and all sorts. I really go to town on it. So you can, I think where a lot of people go wrong is they take that high-end painting which takes hours and hours and hours on every model and try to apply that to a Warhammer army. You can't do that because you'll never ever finish it. It'll take you fucking 20 years. And by that point, like Andy said, they'll all be changed, there'll be new models out and you'll end up in a cycle doing it all again. So I think you have to be realistic with yourself and make those compromises to quality when you're painting larger volumes of models, which is a DM do quite a lot of the time as well. You might need to paint 20 goblins for a game.
Yeah.
You might not use those 20 goblins again for 6 months.
I think you got to be painting reasonably if you're going to paint them, because quite often you only get the models like a week or two before you actually think oh, that'll be good. Oh, I better print some models. Go back to 3D printing. And then you want to get them painted. You've only got a couple of weeks generally to kind of get something table ready.
Yeah. For the campaigns and stuff that I run with miniatures, I tend to make sure the BBEG is painted and ready to go far enough in advance. But week to week, I'll normally use like paper tokens, right, for our games because it's quicker and easier to do. And then if I have miniatures, 9 times out of 10 they're not painted because I just didn't know I was going to use them until a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks before. There's enough on my painting desk as it is.
And you mentioned the magnifying glasses. Are there any other tools or must-haves for your setup?
A daylight bulb.
Okay.
So I got bought a couple of Christmas ago. It's like God, what's the chap in Star Trek with like the eye visors?
Geordie LaForge.
Geordie. It's like a Geordie LaForge thing, but it's got daylight LEDs in it.
Yeah.
And it sits just above your head. That I find is so good because the light in our house is all either really dim or very yellow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Daylight bulbs are an absolute must because if you paint something under a yellow light, you will adjust it to make the colours work under a yellow light naturally. And then when you take it outside, it just looks fucking weird.
Yeah.
So good light quality as well, like painting a slightly dim light, when you then suddenly see it under a proper daylight, you realise you've missed spots that you haven't even seen just because of the way shadows are falling and stuff like that.
Well, that's another point as well, is priming the model is really, really important. Unless you're a very good painter, prime it black. Because if you prime it white and you miss a bit, it will shine through.
Yeah.
If you prime it black and you miss a bit, you won't even notice.
Yeah, but with contrast and...
Well, if the contrast or
can't.
slap chop methods, that ain't going to work.
So I always use slap chop now. I prime everything grey, then dry brush it almost to a white.
I can't bring myself to do it.
It works really well.
Yeah, I know it works really well, but I was like painting models for so many years. You get set in your ways. I cannot break that habit of layer, shade, layer, highlight. Just breaking that method.
Grey and then what? Just dry brush?
So I prime it grey, and then I use just a white and dry brush the model. So I've got grey in the sort of recesses, white on all the sort of highlight base. I almost bring it quite light. I don't use a lot of false, but I make it almost a white, and then speed paint over the top. And I find that gets the most contrast out of the speed paint. That means I basically do one layer on models now.
I'll try that.
You can push that as well, can't you? If you use a white ink through an airbrush as a zenithal, then you can push those highlights and that contrast. You can push it even more, can't you? Which some people do to get
Yeah, I tried doing it just with the sort of rattle can primers. We end up with like a spotty, dusty,
grainy, isn't it?
Yeah,
it doesn't quite work as well.
Yeah.
I found that there's a really cool thing that I use, which is very helpful for me, which I don't know if you guys use it as well. It's like it looks like a little chess piece, but the top of it opens so you can put the mini on, and then it grabs the base of the mini, and then you can hold it.
They're fucking amazing.
So good. Just
you can turn it upside down.
Oh god, the angles and stuff, and being able to hold it without trying to put your fingers in the paint that you haven't just painted and manoeuvre that thing round.
It's surprising how much of a difference it makes. I was really, really dubious of those painting handles. And I got one for free with a magazine, so I gave it a go, and it makes a hell of a difference. The other thing it does that people don't realise is if you just grab a model, you've got grease on your hands naturally. If you're painting a model and you touch it and then try and paint on top of it, dependent on the paint you're using, can react with any grease or shit that's on your hands. If you're using the painting handle, your model stays completely clean, so you haven't got to worry about that.
Yeah.
Or you can put a glove on.
Would that not slow you down though? If you're trying to batch paint,
Batch painting is a pain in the arse with painting handles, yeah.
yeah, because
You either need a million painting handles,
yeah,
painting handle everything up, which people do, or
And
just
people like blue tack them on the corks and things like that as well.
yeah. So
There's
I'm doing a model for a painting competition at the moment, and I've got it in bits, and each bit is embedded on a piece of cork, so I can hold the cork rather than the model, which is kind of like a cheap man's painting handle, I suppose.
And then when it comes to finished product, looking gorgeous, exactly how you want it, paints in all the right places, eyes will probably look a little bit dodgy because they're the most ridiculous thing in the world.
I paint eyes.
Well, yeah.
Have a look at Zeke's Relin model.
You painted eyes on a 28mm bottle. Why bother?
Because
Get it on a dragon
so
or a demon or something.
I think on a character model, I think it makes such a difference, such a huge difference in a character model. Yeah, because if you paint the eyes, you can dictate exactly where that model's looking. Like if you fuck it up and the eyes are like that, that's a bastard. But if you get it right, you can make the model look down the barrel of the gun, and you can tell the story of that model better. You can even go as far. I haven't gone as far as this with just normal model, but I am with the one I paint at the moment, painting the iris in and then the pupil on top of that. But it's how you paint the eye. So you should do the black and then the white, not the white and then the black.
You do the eye black, paint the little white bits of the edge.
And paint white either side of where you want the pupil to be. And then if you're going to do colour, then do the colour after that, going around the black bit.
Whereas if it's me doing it, they end up with a very interesting looking face tattoo.
This is the eye.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's really hard.
Yeah.
Especially if you spent ages like layering the skin up and shading the skin and using glazes on the skin. If you don't fuck the eye up.
So do you do the eye
face.
first and then do the rest of the face, or you leave the eye last?
Leave the eye last.
Okay. He loves to live on the edge.
Absolutely.
Danger man.
You just get the glasses out and your fine paintbrush and just take your time with it.
But then after that, what do you use to seal that paint?
Nothing.
Nothing?
Winter and Newton matte varnish I always use.
I don't ever do it.
I always use a matte varnish on mine now. I think it gives it a nice finish, I think.
Nice. Just dip it in some Vaseline.
Vaseline?
Why not? Then you can pretend that it's gone through one of those gelatinous cubes.
I never bother because I think if the base coat is good and the paint that you're using is good, it's not just going to flake off unless you're going to start dropping it. If we're talking about old metal models, then I would varnish them because they fucking chip like a bastard.
Yeah.
They were really bad, weren't they? But now I never varnish anything. I think you have to be a bit careful because unless you know exactly what's going to do, which obviously you do, John, you have to be careful because it can change the way the model looks.
Yeah.
Certainly, if you're painting for a painting competition, never ever varnish it.
Yeah.
Ever, because it'll change it.
So I find the tricks I've learnt with varnish is bring the varnish in the house before so it warms up to like a room temperature, and make sure you shake it really, really well. Otherwise, you end up with like a dusty powdering over the models. So if it's cold or anything like that, then yeah.
And just to confirm, the varnish that you're using, it's not like you've bought it at B&Q.
I buy it in the range.
It's
It is
like a legitimate...
So Winter and Newton varnish is what like oil paintings they use to finish.
But it's
oil paintings,
specifically for
don't
paintings. It's not like a wood varnish.
they? No, it's not wood varnish. It's like it's a painting product.
okay.
Yeah,
Makes
you
more
can find
sense.
it next to the canvases in like the range or somewhere like that.
So, funnily enough, though, I use varnish as part of the painting process, but not for the final model.
Okay.
So, what I'll do is, if you use panel liner,
Not come across that.
no. So, if you paint something, I don't know. So, I'm painting some Eandan Ghost Warriors at the moment as well. They're yellow. So, you paint them yellow, you varnish them, and then you use oil paints mixed with mineral spirits or white spirit, and drop it into the recesses. And because it's much more fluid, it runs into all the recesses. But then when you need to wipe it off, you just use white spirit and just wipe off the bits that overspill or take it off wherever you get it shouldn't be. If you don't varnish the model before you do that, you remove all the paint you've already put on. So you're using paint during the painting process is the only time I'll really use varnish. And even then, I just use Colourforge varnish spray. So totally different product, but it does the same thing. But the same things apply. Make sure it's room temperature. It's warm. You shake it up. Otherwise, it goes grainy and horrible and cloudy and just ruins everything.
Start it again.
The same as white spray paint. White spray and varnish sprays are to be really careful with.
So, final question for you, gentlemen. Unless you have anything to add on that, Andy.
No, I think the only time I ever tend to use varnish, there is a technique, and it's one I would tend to use more on like armour plates, particularly vehicles, because they're easier. It's where you'd varnish it, then you'd paint over the whole thing with like an oil paint, a brown oil paint. You let that dry slightly, and then you wipe it off, and it gives this really, it gives a really good looking sort of weathered effect.
Because you can take off as much or as little as you want.
Yeah.
So you could keep taking it off, couldn't you, if you wanted to leave your recess detail. Or you can even like reactivate the paint with white spirit on the model, can't you? And then just drag it down so you get like streaks. Which looks really, like Andy just said, looks really good on tanks, but also aircraft that looks really good on. Because you can make it look like they're flying through, so the dirt gets blown backwards.
That's cool.
So you can have that kind of level of detail.
I managed to get the same effect on my tanks using linen oil wash, but carefully placing that and making like letting it half dry and then smearing it with a brush.
Yeah. It's the nice thing with painting. There's so many different ways of doing things that all look very, very slightly different, but that's what adds your kind of flair to your model, isn't it? Your style.
So, final question for you, gentlemen. What is your favourite thing that you have printed or painted that you can think of right now? As they all stare off into the distance, racking their brains about
Years of painting.
thousands of items they've printed
I've painted
and
in my lifetime.
Like just maybe one that you're just really proud of, or was just really unique in the way that it kind of ended up looking, or was a real challenge, and by the time you finished it, you were like, "Thank God that is over." That's a good one as well. As if I haven't had too much of a painting history. I've probably painted about 6 things in the time I've been doing it, but my favourite is one that I showed you a picture of before, which is a bust of, it looks like Hellboy. It's like a tiefling-esque with the horns, one of them's broken, and he's got this leather jacket on, and my inspiration for it was the jacket from that Bane had in the Batman movie. So I just kind of did that as my inspiration, and I was very proud because I managed to do like the dry brushing on it to make it look like aged, and the different tones and the colours and the texture, and I was like, oh, I'm very proud of that. So that would be my one to go for. Oh, such a tricky question.
I know, it is.
I've painted so much.
Yeah.
Like, there's a couple of things that jump into my head straight away. So when I was much younger, I painted a Space Marine chaplain into Gold Demon and got a finalist pin. So that was pretty cool. I was really happy with that.
Cool.
And more recently, I was just painting, not really printing. I don't print that much. I paint much more. I painted some Emperor's Children, which are Chaos Space Marines, but bright pink and black, and did the tanks that fade from pink to black.
That's cool.
So they've got like a gradient going across the whole tank. But the pink came out really, really nicely. Yeah. And I used the oil, exactly the technique that Andy was talking about actually, but with a magenta ink rather than like a dirty ink. And then edge highlighted all of the black, and both sides just set each other off really nicely.
Yeah.
I'll find a picture of it in a bit and show you.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm thinking my brass scorpion I did, which again was a Warhammer model. Because I think it was the first time I'd ever tried the blending, similar to what Ash was saying about. So the plates were started out a bright red and gradually blended and faded to a much deeper, murderous red.
Was that clear paints you used on that as well? Did you use clear paints?
I might have done to do the the heat. I don't know what you would call it. You know, when a gun can get hot and the actual metal changes colour, you get the purples and the blues and whatever. So I might have done with that, yeah. But and that, funny enough, that did win a painting competition in a GW competition in the local store in Ipswich. But yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot I like. But it's all subjective, isn't it? I mean, I could say that that model I painted there is absolutely brilliant, and then other people look at it and think, oh, that's shit.
Well, that's why the question is your favourite.
Yeah.
John?
So I 3D printed a troll a while back on the filament printer. So the model is rough, but I was super happy with how, like, by the time I finished painting it, with how it came out. It's got mushrooms growing all over its back and a nice sort of blend from sort of a blue-grey to a cream on the belly and stuff like that. So I was super happy with that one. And then, to be honest, I was more happy, like, massive satisfaction when I finished painting the Beastman army. 12 months between getting the models and, like, finishing painting them. Like, when I actually finish an army, even though the paint jobs are, like you say, tabletop standard, and you can lay it all out and just go, thank God that's finished. Like, it looks amazing.
Yeah, it's nice to see it finished.
Yeah,
Isn't it?
that feeling, everything based nicely.
So I do think it does add to the experience. If you are putting out painted models as an army, it just makes it look far better than a table full of grey plastic.
Absolutely agree. Well, in even so much as in Warhammer 40,000 now, 10 of your 100 possible victory points are because your models are painted. It's a part of winning the game, is having your models painted.
Nice. Awesome. Well, thank you very much, gentlemen, for your feedback. I hope our listeners have enjoyed it.
Hang on a second, Bertie.
Wait,
Ooh, what about yours?
to start off with, while you guys were thinking, don't worry.
I was concerned for a moment.
I'm a professional now.
Can I ask a quick question?
Of course you can.
What's on everyone's painting desks right now? What are you painting? What are you working on right now?
Right this second.
Right this very second.
Feudum.
Warcry Feudum. Knights and Wizards.
Yeah. Although I'm also dipping in and out with the Elful Chronicle models. So I bought some more of those this week as well.
Of course you did.
I really wanted to paint a model that was printed on a filament printer recently, and I said, I want to paint that because I'm going to use it in my adventure day. And then my dad snuck into the office whilst I was working and started painting it himself, so I didn't get to paint that, so I'm going to make him print another one, and it is a Tarrasque.
Boom, boom, boom.
And it is a full-size Tarrasque, so it's about like a foot tall, foot and a bit tall. And when he was putting him together, I was walking around holding him like a dog, like in my arms, as if he was climbing up me, and I'd pat him.
A bit like a patch.
Yeah, a bit like a patch. And at the minute he's sitting on our living room, like, little table, and every now and again I just go, because in my head that's the noise. A very scary noise.
See, I did deliberate when I get my T-Rex bone carved D20, should I roar every time I roll it?
Yes. Yeah.
Well, you, John, what's
Yeah, there are.
I've got a few bits on the painting shelf that are sort of half done, ready to go. So I've got 2 demons. One is like a Baylori style demon. One is more like a Celestia pleasure demon. Big, she's big. She's a nice model.
Steam.
Yeah. I mean, she's got a big spear. You wouldn't want it. I bought Warhammer Wrath and Glory role-playing game. So I printed some miniatures for the starter characters. I'm halfway through printing them. I've got World War II German anti-tank gun that's primed, ready to go, and 3 Panzer IVs for bolt action. All partially done. Sitting there for at least a month or 2 now, because I don't get time. Time is the one thing I don't get. So, what about you?
I have got at the moment hegemony aggressors on my painting table, which are guys with enormous double-handed swords. A couple other hegemony characters, like with sword fantasy characters. Boss Snickrot for orcs, like an orc commando character, and I'm doing a League of Votan, but Space Dwarf Warrior for a painting competition. So he's in bits across the courts.
I do have a final question, which just popped into my head. What is it that you enjoy most? What is it that you get out of painting? Is it just a little bit of enjoyment of the achievement of it? Is it a bit of zen time just to switch off and do it? What is it that you enjoy most about what you're painting?
I fucking hate painting. It drives me nuts.
Why do you keep doing it then?
Because I like the end result.
Right. So there you go. So it's the end result. It's that final.
People say, "Oh, painting's therapeutic." No, it's not. It's sitting in an uncomfortable chair in an area for me that was the kitchen table 20 minutes ago, with like spilt drink from the kids on it that I forgot to clean up before getting everything out, getting a bad back for an evening. That's my painting experience.
So it's the end result for you.
It's the end result for me, absolutely.
Okay. For you.
I think painting's very therapeutic. No, I do. I find it nice as an escape, like to sit down, put some music on, just chill out and paint. But I've got a dedicated painting desk which is up all the time. I think that makes a difference. Like I haven't got to set everything up, then put it away again. It's just there. If I can paint, go, I had enough time to put it down, leave it, and come back in 10 minutes. It's all still there.
Yep.
So I think that makes a difference.
I think it's twofold for me. One, coming out here, because I do paint in my cabin, coming out here to paint means I'm not indoors being told what jobs to do around the house. And two, being the vain individual I am, I get pleasure in presenting nicely painted models on a table at a D&D game and people saying, "Oh, it's a lovely mod."
Have you painted all of the models that you've presented, or have some of them been pre-painted?
No, every model I've ever put on a table I've painted.
So for me, I think I really want to enjoy painting, but I'm very impatient and I get very frustrated when the idea that I have in my head of what I want it to look like is not how it ends up, because of either I don't quite have the skills, I definitely don't have the patience to make it look like it, or I choose the wrong colour and then I'm very much for this, nope, that's it, I've ruined it, I'm never doing it again. So there's probably about 6 months to 18 months between painting for me. Have the time to kind of chill, but it is very similar to you, John, in that it's when it's done, at the time when I'm doing it, it's very uncomfortable and I'm very stressed. I'm just leave me alone and let me do it. But when it's done and it's finished and I'm like, that looked kind of cool. I'm proud of that. Everybody look, but don't touch it.
I used to enjoy painting a lot more when we were younger. Like when we were sort of at home, like pre-family and kids as teenagers with my brother, like we'd just all sit around the table, chat and paint, much more social. Now it's like, I need to get that finished. The kids don't go, like the kids are finally asleep, everything's tidied at 8 o'clock at night. Like it's that sort of like, it feels like another job, I think, at the moment. So I think
social painting is fun.
Yeah.
We did have that hobby day plan, which unfortunately didn't come off. But getting friends together around the table to spend a day painting can be as much fun as getting friends around the table to play a game.
In that case, of our listeners, after this episode has gone out, after you've listened to it, you've heard the tips and tricks from our lovely co-presenters here. If you think, actually, I would like to give it a go, get in the Discord, let us know, and we can maybe look at doing a social painting day. You can get together. If you've never tried it before, you're going to have people there who are very practiced, maybe not very good, but they've had a lot of practice, who can give you some guidance and help you out. And there'll be some people there who are very good, and they can also give you some guidance. So the newbies and everything. So let us know if you're interested. It's definitely an event that we can get going if you'd like to partake in it, or maybe just come along for the social side and kind of watch other people paint. You might not want to take part, but you might just want to experience it and learn the tips. Maybe give it a go, but definitely let us know in the Discord. Thank you so much for listening. Take care, be good, and if you can't be good, be safe. Ta-ta!
And of course, it's time now to shout out our Patreon members. We have our Ruby members, Niall R, Laura D, Claire C, Pole C, Rebecca M, Alberta S, and Joshua M.
Our Sapphire members, Gary S, Dave R, Kylie T, and our Emerald member, Stuart P.
The Diamond Group, Ash, Bertie, John, Andy, Dave F, Martin M, Chris L, and Zeke W.
And Obsidian, we have Ant. Deck was in here, but his direct debit bounced. And for our ruling council, we've got JP, Sophia S, and Chris BT.
Thank you to all of our Patreon members for supporting what we do at the Charity Gaming Guild. If you want to shout out on the Nat Pun podcast, head over to patreon.com/CharityDND today and sign up to tier.